Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Stellar Developer Meeting. Today, I have a guest from the community. We are doing another one of the Developer Spotlights. And today, it's a pleasure to say welcome to Pamphile, also known as Tupui. So welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks a lot for the invite. Really excited to be here.
So I know you've been super active in the community for a very long time, and I see you contribute to our documentation, to some of our repos. You help out with the Stellar community funds and help out on Discord. I see your name all over the place, so I'm super excited to talk to you today. And I would just really as before we dive into what you're working on and your own projects, like how did you get into blockchain, and how did you get into Stellar in the way you are, because you're very involved?
Yeah, so I've been involved now with Stellar like actively for the last 2 years, I would say. And I really started to dive into because when I switched company, I went to work for Bitpanda, so a crypto broker in Europe, one of the largest. And I told myself, okay, if I'm going to be a developer there, maybe I need to dive deeper in really a blockchain project. And because I was a maintainer already of many open source projects in the scientific Python ecosystem, I told myself, okay, now I need to do something. And I knew already Stellar. It was really in the back of my head. I remember still, I'm not sure if it's still on the webpage of stellar.org, but there was this story about somebody in Peru having some sheep, and they wanted to tokenize the sheep and exchange the sheep for something else. And this was still in my mind, and I just found that concept fascinating. And so I was like, okay, that sounds like a real world utility and something which can have some good social impact. And so I really wanted to get into that space, and that's why I picked Stellar to be my platform of choice. And yeah, also at that time it was just before the Soroban started to be beta and to go there. And yeah, I wanted to learn Rust, was in Rust, so I was like, that's a perfect match. So that's how I started really to be active in the community.
Okay, that's great. So you said you didn't know Rust before you started
No.
working on. How have the onboarding process to Soroban? How has that been for you? You've been along for maybe a little bit longer, so what is
Yes,
this experience?
so my previous experience was purely just Python because I'm a Python developer, day-to-day job. So I would say I'm a good Python backend developer, so zero experience in front-end either, so JavaScript and all of that. And the documentation was just amazing. Without any prior knowledge to Rust or anything, I had everything that I wanted to have. And I also had zero experience in blockchain development either. So I knew what a smart contract was and the concept of it, but I did not know any subtlety about TTLs and lifetime and all of that, and how you deploy a contract and all these nitty gritty details. I had no clue about all the complexity, and the documentation was just a breeze to read. And yeah, when I had questions which were not answered, the community was just amazing to like the Discord and also on Twitter, people are super helpful. So it's just easy, I would say.
Great. So when you started working, when you started developing on Stellar, did you have a purpose? Was there a problem? Was there a project you wanted to build, or did your current project come along later? How does that happen?
Yeah, no, at first I really started with I did not have like a concrete idea I wanted. I had some toy problem that I had in my head that I wanted to do. Maybe some people in the audience also saw some of these. I had an idea with I had a Raspberry Pi, and I wanted to build like a gamified platform where you have a pump, and you use you pump, and as much as you pump, if you pass a threshold, then it's going to do a trigger and to send some tokens. So I had something like that that I hacked away. That was my first contract actually, and yeah, that's what I built first, and I even made a YouTube video about it. And so yeah, I did one idea like that, and the second one that I did was I wanted to explore around the tokenization of things and make a a token and but push a bit further. And so there I was, okay, I had this idea of looking at live data, so weather data. And so I was looking at the expansion of the ice and the contraction of the ice in the Arctic. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put that data and use that data to either mint or burn a token. And so I had sort of an oracle in mind. And so I built another project like that. And building these two projects gave me some confidence into building smart contract, interacting with the community as well, and everything is working basically.
Great. I think it's a really good way to learn, like build something fun, something maybe not super serious, but kind of get some experience building something that you enjoy to do, and where you can get some user interactions and see people enjoy it. So I think that's a great way to start building something more, let's say, more serious. So can you maybe talk a little bit about the project you are working on? And I know you have a presentation as well,
Yes.
where we can go into it a little bit. I think it's super interesting to see what the community is building. So,
okay, so I need to upload them. So. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, so the project I'm building is called Tansu. And so the background of all of that is that, as I said earlier, I'm a maintainer of some famous open source project in scientific Python. So one of them is called SciPy. And SciPy is downloaded close to 100 millions of times per month. So it's really huge. It's really one of the powerhouse of all the scientific Python tools, like packages like scikit-learn, if you do some AI, or PyTorch. Behind the scene, they leverage these tools. And so I've been a maintainer of these tools for like 5 years, or something like that, and also deeply involved here in the open source world. And so I know the challenges that the maintainer are facing, and also I know also the struggle that comes into using this software. And I wanted to try to solve some of the problems that I've seen by building a tool which is sort of interacting with GitHub. So I'm not envisioning to replace GitHub at all, because I think GitHub is nice to store the code and everything, but I think we're missing on two key areas, which are, first of all, the security, because I think in GitHub, now they're building tools around security and around securing the supply chain. And because when you're building something at GitHub, at the end of the day, what you want to ship is a software, an artifact. And GitHub now has tools in order to secure a bit all of that and to ensure the provenance and to ensure that the code was not altered and things like that. But I think there's still a long way to go into really fully secure that. And the other aspect, which is the aspect that I wanted to really cover with my tool when I started to build it, is the community aspect. I'm saying that because as a maintainer of a big tool like that, how is the typical workflow and the governance going is that you have a mailing list, and you post your idea on the mailing list, and sometimes it's sitting there for years, and maybe somebody is replying and saying, oh, you have a good idea or not, and then there's a bunch of discussion happening. It's never fair. It's never really transparent. There are a lot of background discussion happening, a lot of lobbying. And I wanted to have something which would allow the community to be a bit more transparent, to have a ways to really push ideas and have all the ideas evaluated in a fair manner, transparent manner. And so that's really on the idea side and the community side. And another point that people also may know about free open source software is the free aspect. It's a double-edged sword in the sense that there's a lot of people who want to build this software, and they are dependent upon. But then at the end of the day, we have a limited amount of time. We all have jobs, and it will be better. It will help if you would get compensated sometime for the effort and that you put into the software. And some big project like SciPy, we do get some funding. So it's very modest, I have to say. Right now in the bank account of SciPy, maybe there's around $100,000, and that's a software which is, as I said, used by millions of users around the world, really dependent upon. And there are 30 maintainers active on the project, so it's huge, and something like 100K is not going to help anything. You can barely hire 1 or 2 developer full time if you wanted to, and that's the budget we managed to get after 10 years of funding or something like that. So there's really limited budget, and also the way it's being collected and distributed, it's not very transparent. And so with Tansu, I want to have tools in order to be able to distribute this money a bit more fairly. Because now when you would get a grant, for instance, maybe you split the grant into some principal investigators or 2 or 3 people. But what about all the people reviewing your code, contributing to all this discussion and everything? There's a lot of people who are left aside there, and I want to try to have tools a bit for that. So Tansu is just a platform on top of GitHub, which is the goal is to help with putting really decentralization back into Git, because GitHub is this one giant platform which is very centralized. You put your code on it, but then if tomorrow you're not happy with the state of the world or something, you can decide to change your code there, and this can have drastic consequences on all the people that depends on you, because on GitHub you can just force push on the main branch. There is not much history. If you don't monitor it, you won't know that anything happened, and you can really break people there. Same goes with the community. You can really not listen to what people are saying. You can push unilateral decisions, things like that. Nothing is really fair. And so here I want to have Tansu, which really gives the community a voice, and also have decentralized organization, basically, that allows to do specific actions in a trustless manner, basically. And by the way, if anybody has any questions, I'm not sure I see if there is anything in the chat so far, but feel free to stop me.
Yeah, I don't see any questions so far, but anyone who has questions, feel free to ask in the chat.
Perfect. And we'll soon drop to a demo that will be better. And so okay, what is Tansu today? So Tansu so far received funding from SDF, 2 fundings, so which allow to build the following. So on the left side, so a smart contract and a dApp, which are on testnet. I also managed to build a decentralized organization. So from scratch, I'm not depending on anything. The only thing I'm depending on, which is a great project, it's Soroban domains. That's my way to sort of prevent people to abuse a bit the system. I force people when they register their project to have a Soroban domain for their project. And so this way you have a collateral for the project itself. And if people abuse and create too many projects, we can deal with that with Soroban domain. And then I added some features to start to give some money to project. So this is the support feature. And on the security side, I have this commit the hash on chain, which I will show later. What I'm working on right now, I have an open pull request to add anonymous voting to the system. I believe that would be the first anonymous voting platform on Stellar. So I'm pretty excited about that. Everything's working now on the smart contract side. Basically, right now, I'm just reworking a bit the dApp itself to make it work. So I really hope to have that out, I don't know, maybe in 1 week or 2 weeks. Because the front-end side, as I said, I'm not a front-end developer. I do have some help from a front-end dev. And because I have the day job, it's a bit hectic, and sometimes I have to push some nights to try to push things, but it's getting there. I have another friend actually who's helping me on the next point. So critical vulnerability analysis and things like that. We want to push all this information on chain and to link this information with the state of the project. And same for the release artifact. So adding more features towards the decentralized part, decentralized organization part, and also to the security part. That's the focus right now. That's just a quick roadmap that I have in mind. So as I said, I had SCF award, which allowed to kickstart all of that. I built all that in 1 quarter, basically, to have the first POC and to be on testnet. So it was pretty fast because I had really a clear idea of what I wanted to do. And now I'm really in this SCF build. I already finished the first tranche. I'm on the second tranche. And I'm beginning to collaborate with another great project, Trustful, to add a layer on the decentralization part. I actually don't want to use a token really for the organization. I want to use a trust-based system. It's a bit similar to how nodes are talking to each other in the consensus protocol on Stellar. We're using trust, and here I want to also use trust that we place on people, on maintainer, and on participant in the community. So the more active you are in the community and the more good social impact you make in these communities, you will get basically badges. This is the concept that Trustful is bringing, and with this you will get actually your voting power. So I prefer that over having just a monetary incentive, because money is lacking. I prefer the money to go to the support of the project than that. There's a question. So it's like Launchship to sponsor transaction. I actually have to look into Launchship because, to be completely honest, I still don't really understand what Launchship is fully doing. But definitely, I see a lot of people talking about it, and I hope on the call sometimes to see what Tyler is building. And so I will definitely have to look into that. To pay tax fees for this interaction. Yeah, so that's so for now, I don't put any premium or on any features, but that's something I will need to think about if one day I really want to make this profitable in a way. But right now, there is nothing like, and you can see the code. Everything is open source. Paymaster sponsor TX. Yeah, okay. But right now there's zero fees, and the only way that right now Tansu would make any money is when you click on the support button, which I will show. You can decide to leave a tip to the platform. Right now there is just that. And that brings me actually to the presentation of the type itself. And if I manage to present the share screen, that's this one. Can I share? I can share that. Yes. Perfect. So you can, so the main website of Tansu, it's just tansu.dev. Here you can find some rough documentation. I'm saying rough because I'm a backend dev, so my tendency is to write code and forget a bit the documentation, but there's still some documentation to go through to how to create your new project, explaining a bit of rationale about the Soroban domain. I also have a concept of a Tansu file to describe a bit your project. Basically, it's a way to map your GitHub profile to your Stellar address. That's one of the main features, and the other feature is just to give to have some social links attached to your project, because I don't want to store all of that on a smart contract. And something I have to mention is that I'm trying everything I can to not have a backend at all, because I really believe in decentralization, and I think that's really what we're trying to do here in blockchain in general. And to me, using a backend and having something hosted on GCP or AWS would sort of defeat a bit the purpose of everything we're trying to do. So I'm trying to have everything running locally on the client side, and if not, then it's running on the contract. So there's no database or anything like that, and I'm really trying everything I can to avoid all of that. I mean, even thinking about using distributed database, using IPFS and things like that, if ever I have the needs to use a database. There's also developer sections to discuss a bit about the architecture, so things which are also in the SCF proposal that you can have a look at. Then the contract address and some links, and the app itself. So I can directly jump into the app. And so, that's the main app. So if you ever went into the app, you will notice that it's really different now, because I just merged like 2 days ago this revamp of the UI. So I'm really happy with the result. I had the designer team working for 2 months on it. So thanks to the SCF funding that I was able to do that. That's pretty amazing. So the logo and everything and all the look and feel, it's really helped me a lot. Made it possible. So how is the app is working is that basically you have your project. So you can search for a project. It's a normal search. So Tansu, I have Tansu. If I don't find anything, it's going to tell me, oh, there is nothing on chain. and then I can create a new project. So I'm not going to do that here, just going to an existing project, so Tansu. So here you have a bit of details, and then you look at your project itself. So I registered Tansu on Tansu. It can be a bit confusing, sorry. Because I wanted to manage my own project with my own tool, basically. So what is the project page? So the project page, I can quickly go over it. So you have some quick information here. You have this famous support button, which allows you to give some tips to the tools that you use if you like what they're doing. So here, as I said, that's the only way that right now Tansu protocol will be receiving any funding. So by entering here an amount, so here you can do that. Quickly on the wallet side, because here there was something to sign. I'm using the Stellar wallet kit. So this is on Stellar, but you may want to look into protocol.land. That's running aware but interesting. Okay, thank you. I will have a look. Let me copy that. Up. All right, copy that. Thanks, Matthias. And so here, the main information that you have and the information which is actually stored on chain is this thing, the last hash. So here you see I have a bug apparently because you don't see the hash, but you see it. You see it here being represented. So you have all the hashes here. And you can actually go on chain and see the project itself. So let me just quickly go there. So here's the contract itself. And every time you do something, you would see it here. And here are all the entries. And so how is the project defined? Let me try to find it. So here's the project defined. So here is Salib, but I had Tansu. Here's the project, how it's defined. So that's basically the information that I store on chain. I saw the project name, some config itself. So who are the maintainer of the project? So who has really access on it? And after that, I have some other metadata associated to that. And the main metadata right now is the last state of the project on GitHub, which is the commit hash. So this is this stored in another entry. So this seems exactly that key for Tansu. Here is the same as here. Last hash, and that's the last hash which is registered right now, which corresponds to a commit which exists. And so if I go back, when there is actually a match with on-chain data and the data that you find on GitHub, it's indicating you that everything is fine here. You have a green tick. And so if somebody would compromise GitHub basically and overwrite the commits on GitHub, this will get red. And in the future, I will add some triggers which will send some notification to people to say that, hey, something happened on GitHub versus what's on chain. So that's one of the main security features that I have right now. And the same goes with the configuration to say who's maintainer, who's not maintainer. So this is checked against this TOML, this Tansu.toml file. That is, I'm comparing the data which is in this file with the data that I have on chain to have this sort of check. So here you have the commit history. Here you have this commit that we just saw, this F72, which was on chain, which is verified. And because I defined some maintainer, this is the last one that I've done, Tupui. And here I'm a verified maintainer in this list. So you have some indication here of what's on chain and to be able to verify that. So that's the first part, the security part. And the most important part for me is really this governance part. And so if I go on the governance, that's really your DAO. You have not a DAO for the complete for Tansu itself, but for every single project, you get a DAO, your own DAO. So this page will look different for everybody. And maybe if I go back to the Explorer itself, I can quickly show it. Here you have the DAO of Tansu, basically here, and here you have all the list of proposals. So on chain, you can directly see who voted, who approved or abstained, and what's the status of the vote, the title. And here you have something, you have IPFS, because I don't store the proposal themselves on chain, but I use I use IPFS. So once again, I see some questions. The data from the Gitcoin. Yeah, I look into Gitcoin actually. If you go to see my proposals for SCF, you will find the technical documentation. And at the end of the technical documentation, I had a look at everything which was out there around Git, around decentralization, and all of this concept. And I made a comparative analysis of what I think of was missing or was good. And I'm trying to combine all of the nice concept and have it there basically. What is the actual data that is being stored on chain for the project? Are you worried about state expiration? So yeah, the data on chain, I hope I'm answering right now the questions. And otherwise for the state expiration, yeah, that's something actually I'm still thinking about it, exactly how it should work and how I should extend all the TTLs and things, because I'm not sure actually right now. So for now, I'm not really dealing with it because I'm still on testnet, so I still have the freedom to do that. But that's definitely something I'm looking into. I have an open issue on that. But I still need to take more time to just think about how the workflow is going to work. Cordis, how should I pronounce your Discord name? Tupui. it's my second name actually.
I asked the same question before we joined.
Yeah, it's a classical question. All right. So going back on the on the proposals themselves. So let me just open a proposal to see how it looks like. So this data, as I just shown before, is stored on IPFS. So what you just saw right now is loading the data from IPFS. As I said, there's no backend or anything, and everything's running client side. So this was loaded from IPFS. That's the proposal itself. When you create a proposal, you can put an image, you can put whatever you want. I have like a markdown editor. You can put tables and all of that. And then all goes to IPFS. So I can actually open the link and you will show how it is. Yeah, it's loading. It's funny, it's loading faster on my thing than the IPFS itself. Wasn't he in Austria? Yeah, I'm living in Austria, in Vienna, but I'm French, coming from Tahiti, if you want this to be even more confusing. Okay, the IPFS Explorer, I don't know what is happening, but yeah, you see the link here. It's an IPFS link. Yeah, it's not loading for some reason. And I mean, this is not my internet. I don't know. Starting again. No, I mean, the link is there. I don't know. IPFS, but it's loading here. So you have it here. One concept I have on the DAO itself. It's pretty decentralized, yes. One concept I have with the DAO proposal is that I have the concept of outcome. And so when a proposal is accepted, it can execute when when you're going to execute the proposal itself and to have the tally being calculated, you're actually going to be able to say, okay, if it's approved, please execute that transaction. And so here you have an example of XDR that I put. So here in this, it's a trivial example that I put here, but you can put any XDR when you create a proposal. And so if when you execute the proposal, you're going to have like a screen telling you this is going to be executed when you actually execute the proposal. And so the tallying is going to be made, and this is going to be also sent. So what can you use that for? You can use it, for instance, to add a main, not just to pay people, but to me it was to do some special action for maintainers. For instance, if you wanted to change the structure of your governance, you can have a proposal saying, oh yeah, what about we add I don't know, Pamphile to this other community. And so you will make a proposal, and the XDR itself would just be to call the Tansu contract itself and to add myself to another project. And people, when they vote and when you execute that, then I would be able to be added automatically into that new organization. So this way you can really manage your the whole governance of your project on chain as well, or the aspect that you have on chain. And also you can have fund distributions and all of that. And what I want to do afterwards is, so right now it's very manual. You have to create your own XDR and paste it there. But what I want to have is templates that people can use, and they will be able to have like, I don't know, a drop down and then select, yeah, I want to add a maintainer, boom, and then you will have a few fields to fill, and boom, it will just build the XDR for you. And I also want to be able to have some things that you pre-sign, and then everything is being able to be executed automatically and things like that. So this is coming, but the main feature right now is you have this XDR that you can execute. And yeah, I think that's basically it. If you have any questions.
I don't know if there was any other questions. I think you got through all of them.
Perfect.
Yeah, super exciting to see it. I've been poking around a little bit just to play with it, and I think it looks great. I think it's
Thank you.
It's a great project, and yeah, I love to see how much you decentralize the DApp as well. So yeah, really interesting projects. Do you have anything else in the presentation? The other presentation?
No, that was it. Yeah, I mean, my next big thing is really to bring anonymous voting there. This I'm really excited about. I've been working like a lot on that and learning as well. I knew nothing about zero knowledge and homomorphic encryption and all of that, and I just got the idea when I saw the protocol 22 update that it was bringing that, and then I started to look into it, and I really like the concept, and I think that's bring quite some value to the project if I had that feature. And so yeah, I have an open source an open pull request. Everybody can check out the code, and yeah, please feel free to also use what I've discovered and what I built for your own project. Okay. Yeah, so Matthias is asking, using NQG for the voting. Yes, sort of like with these badges that I want to use. So the Trustful, the project that I want to use, they have this concept of badge, and I want to sort of have some neurons, which are how many badges you have and what kind of badges you have. And this maybe with on top things like, okay, how many times we can actually in the history of GitHub, we can find your name, and this will maybe give you like a power on the actions that you have on chain to say, you're an active maintainer, and you can also have like some cron job running in the background to say, if you've not been active for that long code wise, then maybe we remove your code access and things like that. So you can. I'm really thinking about all these kind of things. Tansu on Polkadot. No, I did not know about that. It's great. That's why I like Stellar so much. Have so many people giving you ideas like that and sharing interesting things. Thanks. Just now I feel compelled to. Please do have a look. Everything is open right now. It's very easy. I have a monorepo because I'm just working myself basically on it, and yeah, it's on my GitHub profile. So GitHub Tansu, the Tupui, and then Soroban versioning is called the repo.
Yeah, it's great. I love you bring a lot of new ideas to the table here. I think there's some of the solutions you're working on is something we probably haven't seen a lot of in the community. So I hope this is an inspiration for everyone else to go and take a look at your project, take a look at the code, see how you're solving some of these challenges, creating some of these creative solutions to sometimes well-known problems or some new problems, new ways of doing things. So it was really great to get the opportunity to chat with you and to see the project you're working on. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much for the invite, and thanks for the audience for all the nice questions.
Okay, great. I think we'll wrap it up here then. We will be back next Thursday. And if anyone out there has a cool project that they would like to talk about here on the Stellar Developer Meeting, please reach out to me. I think it's very interesting to see some of these projects and talk to the developers behind it and hear some of their thinkings about how they solve these problems. So thank you everyone for joining. See you next week. Thank you.
Thanks everybody. Bye.